What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night. That means it's time to talk about movies here on the River's Edge Network. Hey, Eric, how's it going tonight, man?
It's going pretty well, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How's it going, everyone out there watching? I am Vincent Didiano, and this is my podcast, POVincent. Eric here, as always, is my comedic comrade. And I keep saying as always, but lately he's been tripping me up on that because of like the one time he wasn't here because he had fucking work to do.
There were two times. I was having a reunion with friends in Cleveland. That's right. I'm from there, and I admit it. Admit it with pride and a little bit of fear. I mean, I don't want to get murdered in a bathroom of a local diner for repping the wrong sports team.
You got to be careful. You never know.
It's a real thing that has happened in Pittsburgh that I was talking about earlier today. I'm just thrilled right now because Vince is making sure that microphone doesn't murder us. Yeah. It is. I was scared earlier, man. I apologize. I was a little late to the film today because I made two wrong turns. Not one, two wrong turns.
Two wrong turns. And I was afraid that I was going to end up in a horror film. You know, like, you make two wrong turns, you're like, oh, I'm running late. I make bad life decisions. Oh, no, my tire blew out, and I don't know how to change it. I guess I'll, try to call my cell phone, but I get distracted by Facebook. Pan to Vince going, I wonder that son of a bitch, if he doesn't get here soon, I'll murder that fucker. And then pan back to me and, Nice editing style.
Thank you. I'm proud of it. I've been working on that for years. I'm like, make sure when you cut, you make an obnoxious noise with it.
Woo! Oh, man. But anyway, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here's our lineup for tonight. In movie news, we're going to be talking about everything from a canceled Bruce Willis film from China to the Disney takeover of Fox films. Then we're going to talk about the Halloween franchise and many, many installments of the Halloween franchise. We're not going to go over every little detail, but then we're going to end the show off with our movie review and what's going to be about. It's tonight's movie review is the new Halloween film. Thanksgiving, the classic straight to DVD horror film.
I mean, it is pretty classic.
I've actually never seen it. I've heard of it.
Sheena Carroll, the lovely Sheena Carroll, made me watch it about two Thanksgiving years. The night before Thanksgiving, I got really drunk because I was hosting the Brookline Community Open Mic when I was at the Brookline Pub, and I think they had Nosferatu or something delicious that I drank too much of, and I got sick, and I woke up at 7 a.m. hungover, and Sheena got up at 10, and we just she played the big spoon, and we watched Thanksgiving. About a killer turkey from 500 years ago who has come back to kill college students in extremely campy and upsetting ways.
I feel the word to take away from there is upsetting, because I just feel like that's a marker for the name, Thanksgiving.
Okay, I want to put things. Yesterday, Sheena and I, we watched The Room and we watched The Thing, and I feel like Thanksgiving is somewhere in the middle, but much closer to The Room than to The Thing. The Thing is wonderful. The Room is, wow. It feels kind of like if a movie could sterilize you, that would be The Room.
You had that experience with The Room?
Oh, hey, Mark. How is your sex life? You can't have children anymore, Mark.
They're coming out with a new movie. Did you know that?
What? When you say they, you mean intergalactic aliens pretending to be Polish people with brain damage from a car crash. Wait, is he Polish?
Crash. Is that his true origin?
So
I've heard people say he's French. I've heard people say Tommy Wiseau is
German. I don't think anyone knows the true origin, so I don't want to go on record and be like, he's Polish. They figured it out. You know, clearly someone that weird must have eaten too many pierogies, and that's why he has the paucity he has.
You know what I think Tommy Wiseau is?
If I may go off on a little time. So you ever see the Tom Hanks film The Green Mile with him and Michael Clark Duncan? You ever see that?
Yeah.
Remember they explain like they don't know where Michael Clark Duncan's character, who's like the Miracle Man, he's like, he just came out of nowhere. I feel like Tommy Wiseau, because like Michael Clark Duncan's character is like this wholly pure human being. I feel like God. It's like in that movie Twins, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger's all the good and Dan DeVito's the shit. I feel like Tommy Wiseau was the shit filtered out of him, and now how he came into existence.
Are you saying that Tommy Wiseau is a Stephen King character?
It could
come
be.
to life, because that actually makes so much sense. That makes like a lot of sense, because he is like platonically terrifying.
He is.
Like, I mean, not in like a like, oh, I think you're going to murder me sort of way, but in just like, oh, like how do you exist? Like, but no, the theory, I think like they think he's Polish, and then he got the money because The Room cost millions of dollars. He spent millions of dollars making a bad HBO softcore porn. That's basically what the film is, with somehow an even worse soundtrack than an HBO softcore porn. Like the movie sound like at least 3 of the different sex songs, because there's like 36 sex scenes in them. I am exaggerating. There's only like 5. But like at least 2 of the songs sound like someone was just like, okay, we just want you to rip off Boys to Men. Can you do that for us? Like badly, just really badly.
All right, we're gonna move on to movie news because we're just getting too deep into the Tommy Wiseau mythos. But before we do, gonna give a
not too long into the Wiseau.
Yeah. Before we do,
or else the Wiseau looks into you.
Oh, hi, Eric. I know. Crappy, I'm infected.
I have to kill you now, Vince. I have to kill you before they kick Bruce Willis out of China.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. But before we talk about Bruce Willis, real quick, want to give a shout out to the people who are tuning in right now. Give a shout out to our Krish. How's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. My friend Brandy, thanks for tuning in, and my other good friend Jess. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And thanks for anyone else who's tuning in right now. We really appreciate it. But now, without further ado, let's talk about what's going on with Bruce Willis. According to an article on Variety.com entitled "China Release of Fan Bingbing," and I'm not making that name up. That's really I know that sounds like a stereotypical name, like somebody would give a Chinese person. That's their real name. She's a real person. Don't I'm not being racist here. I just want to throw that out. Fan Bingbing Bruce Willis film Unbreakable Spirit is scrapped. The planned theatrical release of the big-budget Chinese war movie Unbreakable Spirit has been scrapped following allegations of money laundering. The film had earlier been at the center of a tax avoidance allegations involving actress Fan Bingbing. So yeah, this is not good. Apparently, a lot of it has to do with something that the female actress Fan Bingbing was involved in. Let's see, what were they? Reading this earlier today. She came out with a statement. No, hold on. Where is she? I'm sorry, guys. Hold on one second. I know where is she. She talked somewhere.
I'm holding on, Vince. I'm holding on hard. Yeah. I need you to land this.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. So,
she said, buddy.
My sincere apologies to my crew, the distribution team, and all audiences who had high expectations of the film. Yeah. Because the film has a stellar cast that includes Bruce Willis, Liu Ye, Nicholas Tsay. Director Zhao Feng said the film had taken 8 years to make. So this is just like a huge culmination. And that's saying the Chinese movie market has been trying to like expand to the international level with big, huge hits. Well, I don't think a lot of people are going to remember. Some people aren't going to remember. But last year they had the movie The Great Wall come out, starring Matt Damon as a white man who saves China, which garnered a lot of like intensity, and because people were like, "You're whitewashing this film," which kinda. The thing about The Great Wall movie, besides the fact that it wasn't good, was that the movie studio wanted that movie to be a huge win. They poured a ton. I think it was like one of the highest budgeted Chinese films to date, the highest budgeted one, or like top 10. They were really hoping for it to be an international success. So The thing was, yeah, they let a famous white guy be the main star of their film because Matt Damon is an international like movie star, and he would bring people in, and people came in, and they were like, I think I'll leave now.
Matt Damon was like, they're not whitewashing it. The character was like written for me. It's like that's kind of that's kind of like industrial whitewashing.
Yeah. The sad thing about that film was actually the costumes were great, the sets were great, the special effects. I don't watch a ton of Chinese movies, but I have a general idea that if it's not Hollywood or Britain, I think Britain's the next biggest getting good solid CGI effects from other countries, and I'm not dissing, it's just like in America the studios will like pour crap tons of money, more than most other studios around the world have to use. So the special effects for a movie from China were actually not bad, considering they're doing CGI monsters.
Why didn't they go with Chow Yun-fat?
I don't know, maybe they saw Dragon Ball Evolution. I don't know.
You can call me drunk high school student number 3, Vince, because you just murdered me.
Oh, man. But yeah, so, this is I feel bad, because once again, The Wall was a bomb. It just didn't do well. And the big problem with it was, it was ancient China. The plot was, that that the Great Wall was not built to keep out the Mongolians, I want to say?
Yes.
Yeah,
they were built to keep out the Genghis, the one and only, the Khan Master.
Yes.
Genghis frickin' Khan.
Yeah, so, and the plot of the film was they didn't build the wall for him. They built the wall because every 60 years these monsters come off a mountain and try to take out China. And so the wall... You didn't know about this?
I didn't see the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's... Sometimes it's like a nice reminder that like Americans aren't the only ones that can be racist.
No.
Because that's China just being like, oh hey, the Mongolians, yeah, they're just monsters who try to conquer us every 60 years. Like.
Oh no, it's like it's not saying the Mongolians are monsters. They're saying like the Mongolians had nothing to do with the wall in the movie.
Have you ever heard of a metaphor, Vince?
Have you ever heard of misunderstanding someone?
Yes, Vince. Yes, I have.
I didn't know where to go from there. Sorry. I'm just getting so caught up in ridiculous. And then...
I stuck you in a closet. I'm coming for you, Vince.
Yeah, and the monster... here's the real kicker. The monsters are aliens. They came to Earth riding a fucking meteorite.
So wait, it was Chinese Independence Day or like Chinese the Thing?
It was it was Chinese Independence Day because there was a whole army of monsters.
Okay.
And it was more Independence Day resurgence because there was a queen monster that they had to kill to take out the other monsters.
Wait, so the monsters were from England?
Yes.
Like, no, that's what happened. Like, if you want...
Yeah, they ran up to that wall and were like, chip, chip, cheerio, motherfuckers. Like, and they just...
Like, I'm pretty sure the way British law goes is if anyone challenges the Queen to a bare knuckles fist fight and they win, they are now the ruler of England, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it's in the parliamentary constitution.
That law is in there, but most British people are just too well mannered to take it up on it.
Yeah, they're polite and they're afraid that if they do that, like the Queen will stop blessing the magic tea bags that, of course, produce all the tea for the populace of Britain.
Yes.
That's like if the Queen blesses tea bags and then they go out and then they perform tea because it's actually tobacco that she blesses and turns into tea. And that's how tea is made, children.
What's us tonight in like expanding mythos on famous people? First we expanded the Tommy Wiseau mythos, and now the British. Who's next? It could be anybody. But yeah, so unfortunately, going back to this film, it's unfortunate because it seemed like there was a lot involved in this film. Once again, you had Bruce. I'm sure they brought Bruce Willis on. Same reason for The Great Wall. They needed an international movie star to bring it in. It's a real shame because Fan Bing Bing, she had apparently her own the stuff she pulled was bad. that's pulling this movie down. So it's unfortunate. I'm like, here's the thing. I'm not like a fan of Chinese cinema. Like I haven't watched a lot or anything. But I feel bad because I get it. They're trying to get out there. They're trying to make the big movies that people want to see, the big dramas and interaction, and they're trying to get out. So even though I don't know a lot about China, except for there's a lot of people in China. We're in debt to China, and the Great Wall was a bad movie. That's about I mean because like
they have a population of 1 billion, Vincent.
Yeah, that's why I said there's a lot of people. There's a lot.
That is technically correct.
That is.
Yeah. You. There you go. They also have panda bears.
They do have panda bears.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Adorable panda bears.
Yes. One of them is a very prominent martial artist. And I'm just slaying it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna move away from China.
Vince, you can call me Drew Barrymore because you just killed me in the first 10 minutes.
Wow, this is a grand episode tonight.
It's getting pretty bloody, man. We haven't even started talking about Michael frickin' Myers yet.
Yeah, I know. But let's move on. We got another kind of thing to talk about, which I don't even know how to approach this. I'm gonna be honest, but we're gonna move on to our next news story, talking about an actor that we've brought up before on the show, a guy that I like a lot. I think he's really cool, really great. We're going to talk about Idris Elba.
Ooh, we're going to talk about your man crush.
Yeah, Idris. I love Idris Elba. He's great. He's such a great actor.
What's your favorite Idris Elba role?
Wait, what did I just see him in recently that
I don't know, Vince. I don't know, because he wasn't in Halloween.
Well, he wasn't in Halloween. He wasn't.
Were you watching Luther?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it, but what the hell did I see him in?
I don't know, Vince. I don't know.
I don't know. I have a different answer.
Were you just fantasizing about James Bond?
That's still like a.
You have a license to kill me.
But anyway, so Idris Elba, according to an article on Deadline.com, Cats. Idris Elba.
We're not making this up. This is not April Fool's Day. Yeah. We weren't like, we're going to have a laugh on them to lighten the mood before we talk about Halloween. But this is real. This is real life.
Idris Elba boarding Universal working title movie as McCavity. So for those of you familiar, back in the day in a magical land called the 90s, there was a super huge famous Broadway musical called Cats.
Pretty sure that was a time period, not a land.
You know what? You can call it what you want. I just remember it being
can we take a road trip to the 90s, Vincent?
We can.
I'll split gas, right?
We'll split gas, but the gas is going to lock because we're going to take the DeLorean. And Mr. Fusion.
It just runs on trash.
Mr. Fusion broke.
So I can fuel. Oh, that means I thought we could just fuel it with me. But
no. I mean, I know a guy who's got some plutonium, but I don't like talking.
In case there's anyone stupid watching, I was calling myself trash.
But anyway, get in, Eric. Take one for the 90s. But anyway, so
got me right here.
Right. So anyway, yeah. So the famous Broadway.
I love the 90s.
Yes, the famous Broadway musical Cats. It was huge. I don't know if
it was a big deal.
People might not remember it. It was like a big thing. It was like part of. It got so big. It was part of pop culture. Okay.
I mean, what do you
it was
think
90s Hamilton.
Furries?
All right, it was 90s Hamilton. As weird as a comparison that is in terms of popularity, yeah, it was fucking 90s Hamilton. In terms of popularity, I'm not saying about the plot, the characters. I'm just saying in terms of you were about to jump on me. I know it.
It definitely inspired furries, right?
They were like my people.
Like a combination of cats and Furbies led to furries. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. Anyway, according to the article, Idris Elba is in final talks to join Tom Hooper's movie adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's. There's something about saying that name, Andrew Lloyd Webber, where you want to say it in a voice like
Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, don't say that. Hit musical Cats.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
We hear Elba is what?
Chris Mohan says that we can fuel the DeLorean with Cleveland.
Holy crap, we'll get like 8 trips out of that.
Okay, for the record, like, no, we're in Pittsburgh. Like, I mean, haha, yeah, Cleveland. But if we want to fuel it with trash, like, for Cleveland and Pittsburgh are just like the same city, except if like one was in the upside down place.
Now, you see, there's a part of me that doesn't like. I know we're making fun of Cleveland, and I just did, but there's a part of me that's like, but that's where the Drew Carey show was.
Like, no, I'm from Cleveland. Like, it's a very similar city to Pittsburgh. If we wanted to fuel the DeLorean with trash, we should use Youngstown. No, have you ever? Okay, I once took
I've been in Ohio. I've been many
places in Ohio. I once took a Greyhound from Pittsburgh to Cleveland, and so we started in a place that has Pitt in the name, and the place we ended up was in Cleveland. And when we stopped in Youngstown, I was like, "Wow, this is what depression looks like." Like, just this, like it looks like you're in a like rundown oil city in Texas, but you're in Ohio.
I don't hear people say many nice things about Ohio. And I have friends. This is what I'll say nice about Ohio. I have friends who live in Ohio, and they're my friends, and I love them. So that's my nice thing about Ohio. Anyway,
the sea cities are pretty good.
All right. Back to the fucking article. Enough about fucking Ohio. We hear Elba is playing famed feline McCavity. I don't know who that is.
Wait, feline is the name feline McCavity, or they just describe that he is a feline?
Famed feline McCavity.
They just really wanted to throw in the alliteration before using a name that sounds like Scrooge.
That's what the article says, man.
Teeth.
The Golden Globe. May I continue?
Yeah.
Thank you. The Golden Globe and 2-time SAG Award winner will join a cast that already includes. Oh my God! Hold on, we gotta take a break. I didn't realize how many people were already on this fucking project. Holy shit! I just took a
The internet just broke Vincent.
God damn it!
That's what you just yelled into the microphone.
I'm sorry.
This is the guy who always yells into the microphone.
I'm sorry. All right. Hold on. Let me go. Okay. The cast already includes Taylor Swift, Jennifer. Hold on. You save it. We got more to go.
What?
Jennifer Hudson, Sir Ian McKellen, James Corden, Laurie Davison, and Met Towley or Tooley? I don't know. Yeah. Wow. And wait, Judi Dench is getting involved in this motherfucker too. There's a whole other article I never noticed before. Let me look at this.
I think I just stroked out.
I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. Listen. If anybody who's like a musical fan out there, or you're like a Broadway, listen. I'm gonna be straight up honest. I've never seen Cats. I just remember it being this famous thing from when I was a kid, right? And who knows? This movie could be fucking spectacular if like they go with like really awesome. I don't know how they're gonna do like the outfits. If they're gonna look just how they look like in the musical, or they're gonna do like an update, or they're gonna literally try to make them look like cat people or something. I don't. It's fucking weird. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of. I can't believe. This is the first time I've ever heard about this fucking movie. And already we got so many like famous people like. I'm not really surprised about Taylor Swift, to be honest. If I'm gonna be honest, Taylor Swift has been in movies before, but like dumb movies. Like she was in the Valentine's Day movie called Valentine's Day. Nice fucking title there.
With Angel as the killer. Or wasn't he?
David Boreanaz?
I think he's definitely in it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about another Valentine's Day.
But there was another one?
Yeah, there was a slasher film from like the late 90s, early 2000s starring David Boreanaz.
Yeah, I was like, man, was Taylor Swift like an infant in that?
She was like 3 probably, or sperm? I don't know. But no, Taylor Swift was in another one from like 5 years ago where it was supposed to be. It was one of those movies where they put like a dozen notable celebrities and then half a dozen semi-notable celebrities, and they just hope the movie wins on the star power alone. There was like that New Year's Eve where it's just like, let's shove a couple dozen celebs in there and just hope the fact that enough of their individual fan bases come along to make this movie. Yeah, it was her, and like she was like a cheerleader, and she was dating Taylor Lautner when people still cared about him.
In a world that you didn't think could get any more surreal.
Wow.
Comes motherfucking Cats.
Okay.
With Idris Elba and Taylor Swift.
All right, I'm going to read this last little bit, and then we're going to move on to our final news thing. But McCavity, you know who should have played McCavity? Our good friend Danny McCavity. He should have.
I thought you were just gonna like recommend a dentist. I don't.
No. I went to the dentist today. My teeth
Maybe
are
a
so
Scottish
fucking clean
dentist?
right now.
That sounds like a really bad Scottish dentist.
So let me take a look in your teeth.
McCavity.
No,
I
that's
keep
Irish.
killing people's children because I want to be the lead doctor in this firm. It's Macbeth, but
Okay. All right. Anyway, McCavity is the only real villain in the musical who kidnaps
See?
Old Deuteronomy. That's the name of a character. Old Deuteronomy. The Jellicle leader. Jellicle. That's a character's name. And attempts to abduct.
Isn't it a group if he's the Jellicle leader?
I don't know. Well, no. Yes, Old Deuteronomy, and then it's Jellicle with a capital letter, so that's a character, and the Jellicle leader, and attempts to abduct Demeter. Wait, wasn't Demeter a Greek goddess?
Yes.
One of two cats who sings about him. The character was originally portrayed by Richard Pettifer in the original West End production and by Kenneth Ard in the Broadway production. McCavity also has a hypnotic power. I mean, that's just Idris Elba. That's not really the character. I mean, in Act 2, there are two songs about him. McCavity, the Mystery Cat, sung by Demeter. Bomalarina. What the Bomalarina?
This movie had to be written. This musical had to be written on so much
female
ecstasy.
Feline backup and McCavity fight, performed by McCavity, Demeter, and Monkastrap and Alonzo. Wait, what? I know. I get some of these are like cat names, but who the hell names their cat Monkastrap? That sounds like a Pokemon. God, we are pissing off any musical theater people right now.
That's like.
It's getting weird.
My head is spinning.
I know. We gotta move. Wait. Elba is also currently filming the Fast and the Furious spin-off hops. Jesus fucking Christ. All right.
What is happening? What is going on in the world?
Gee, well, I don't even know. All right, we gotta move on. This is a...
What is reality?
God, this article's infecting me. This fucking kid in calamity. We gotta get the fuck out of this article. Move on to the next story, Eric. Get the next image up. Jesus. Oh, there we go. The cold, deadly fist of Mickey Mouse makes me feel.
I realized I was like, wait, Homer Simpson and Deadpool are going to be in a movie with a blue ninja?
For those of you who are listening and not watching the live stream, which I don't care whether if you watch the live stream or if you're listening, thank you for just listening to the show. The image we have up on the screen currently is a giant Mickey Mouse fist punching Deadpool, Homer Simpson, and one of the blue Avatar aliens, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, according to an article on Variety, Disney and Fox film merger could be heavy on drama. So, as we've reported before in the show, and this came out, a while ago, Disney has bought, 20th Century Fox film, and therefore they get all their stuff, all their movies and such. And, of course, most people are talking about the superhero movies such as Deadpool, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. Because now that Disney has those, they can bring those the various characters from those franchises, reboot them into the MCU. So that's been a big thing. But people
are excited.
Yeah. Once Disney wraps up its $71.3 billion acquisition of much of Rupert Murdoch's media empire, Fox Film Vice Chairman Emma Watts, Fox 2000 head Elizabeth Gabler, Fox Searchlight co-heads Steve Gilula and Nancy Utley, Fox Animation co-heads Andrea Miloro and Robert Baird, Fox Family President Vanessa Morrison will all be making the movie. Their new gigs have been among the worst kept secrets in Hollywood, and the blah blah blah, making the news somewhat of a moment. Now the drama comes around of apparently there's some discrepancy as to what some of their roles are going to be. There are a few hints buried between the lists of executives and statements that were heavy and superlatives, namely some indications that Watts will be tasked with running Heard over some of the new transplants. While she will report to Disney studio chief Alan Horn, along with Gabler and the Fox Searchlight team, she will share Maloro, Baird, and Morrison as direct reports with Horn. Horn's statements may have also answered questions about what will happen to the 20th Century Fox brand, 20th Century brand. He mentioned that the film groups will exist under the umbrella of the Walt Disney Studios, and a sign perhaps that the label will be joining Time Warner in the land of unloved corporate monikers. So, yeah, surprise, surprise, one corporation basically takes over another, and shit's going to go down. So, this is about, you know what I like about this article is the first article that's really just not focusing on the superhero movies as big as nerds as we are, and we've loved talking about that, and the kind, the X-Men meeting, coming in and meeting the Avengers, or like, finally getting a decent Fantastic Four movie. Which honestly, I'm going to be honest about that real quick. I mean, I love the X-Men. I watched the '90s cartoon. I've watched, that and the X-Men Evolution cartoon, which was also really cool.
I missed that one.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good. Yeah, I mean, they took a risk making them all teenagers, but it fucking worked. I'm hoping the new Dark Phoenix movie will be good, because that's the last of this timeline. Period. There's no more rebooting with time travel. But honestly, I'm really excited to see if and when they're gonna do a Fantastic Four movie, because we haven't had a good one. I want those characters to, like you have the one in the '90s, a really low budget one that was just made to hold on to the rights. Honestly, taking into consideration that it was a low budget film, the movie's not that bad, really. It's weird. Like, it's got bad special effects, and like one or two of the characters are annoying, but
it was too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon, and honestly, you can tell, like, from watching the movie, there was some legitimate effort put into that movie to make it a good Fantastic Four film. The whole Fantastic Four film was like Jessica Alba and a pre-Captain America Chris Evans. And
that movie doing poorly actually kind of sets up the current MCU as we have it, because if that movie did well, I don't think Chris Evans ends up as Captain America.
No. He wouldn't have ended up Captain America. And same thing goes for
Michael B. Jordan?
Michael B. Jordan, thank you. Because he was the Human Torch.
He was number 2 Johnny Storm.
Yeah, and that one did bad, and then that worked out because he got to come to the MCU as well and become Killmonger, one of the coolest villains we've had in the MCU. I put him in I might put him in top 5. I don't know if he'd be number 1. He's definitely in top 5.
He's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
Him and Michael Keaton are both in the top 5 for sure.
No, that was I was like, that's the great thing about the Vulture too. He was like, he's one of those villains, like he's one of like the few villains in the movies, if we're not counting like the TV shows, because that's part of the same universe. He's one of the few villains from the, like, I think the only villain.
He's a primary villain that isn't just an evil version of the good guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a good person. He does horrible things for his family, but he's not trying to take over the world. Or like most of the other villains are either trying to take over the world or like destabilize a government or something like that.
Or they're literally like, you look at Iron Man. Oh, hey, you have an iron suit. I have an iron suit. Even as good as Killmonger is, it's like, oh, hey, like, you were raised to be this. Like, I'm literally your cousin whose dad was murdered by your father.
Yeah.
Like, blah, 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 blah. There are other examples that my brain is failing at right now.
Oh man, but anyway, so yeah, like a lot of stuff going down behind the scenes.
Doctor Strange, I would say, is an exception. Doctor Strange had that weird demon thing that was definitely not just an evil wizard.
Well, yeah, but Dormammu was trying to take over their universe, so that's
true.
Yeah, the only other character, I mean, you could count Whiplash from Iron Man 2, because I mean, he just wanted to, like, destroy Tony. I don't know what his plans were afterwards. He was going to be like, well, I have suit. Might as well go have fun. And he, like, flies to Vegas and just whips the shit out of everything.
He would just star in a weird BDSM movie with Kim Basinger.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah, I will turn my arc reactor onto full, baby. Like,
way to take my 9.5 weeks reference and make it even weirder, Vince. That is a tough order. Is there a category that's like weird non-porn BDSM movies, like Secretary and 9.5 Weeks, that falls into that, like, hey, like, there's still like weird, sexy stuff in this, but we're gonna be showing in regular theaters, not the kind Pee Wee Herman got arrested at.
Poor Paul Rubens.
Hey, he still ended up in Blow after that, which was actually probably not the best movie choice.
Yeah, he was doing a few movies during that period of time where he had like long, greasy-looking hair. Remember that? He did that. He was in Mystery Men as the Spleen.
Mystery Men was another movie that I feel like was a little too soon.
Yeah, well, that was still during that period of time where, like, even for a superhero parody film, it was hard to nail down superhero movies for most studios back then. I mean, even now, if we're being honest, we're like, we got so many things have changed. It's like, well, no, things are going well at Marvel Studios. Batman v Superman. Anyway, there's our Batman v Superman punch to the nuts of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
You had to do it.
You did the past like 4 or 5.
Okay, that's true. I was gonna drop it later. I was gonna be like, Michael Myers is almost as evil as Batman versus Superman.
I don't know. I think that's debatable. I don't know. I mean, honestly, in Batman v Superman, instead of like Doomsday coming out of the ship, if Michael Myers came out of the ship, I think, as crazy as insane that would be, I think I probably would have been like, okay, they're not trying. They're just going crazy. I'm going to have fun now. It's like, he just keeps stabbing Superman. The blade just breaks a little every time he hits him. Just snaps off a little. Superman punches him. He just gets back up. It's just like, all right, let's lasso him and we'll like throw him into the sun.
Chris is excited for a good Doctor Doom, by the way. You're excited for a good Fantastic Four. He wants to see a good Victor Von Doom, which I think Doctor Doom is a great villain.
Yeah, no, he runs a fucking country. He has an army of robots that are like would kick the shit out of Ultron.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
He's got his own country. He can make all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
because here's the thing. The one Fantastic Four movie that got the sequel, that Doctor Doom, he was basically
Michael Fassbender.
What the hell are you talking about?
Pretty sure isn't
Michael Fassbender's Magneto.
Michael unless it's that dude. Was Michael Fassbender the dude from that FX movie about FX show about the surgeons?
You're thinking of the right guy. You're just completely fucking up his name. Just hold on.
I'm pretty sure
it's something McMahon. His last name is.
Oh no! Wait, maybe I'm confusing dudes. Isn't there a Fassbender?
Michael Fassbender is Magneto in the X-Men films.
So I'm wrong.
You are You've got the face. I think you're thinking of the right person. You're just completely flubbing up his name. His name is, where is it? It's like McMahon. Julian McMahon.
Okay.
Yeah, here, let me bring him up on the computer so you can see him. Like you're thinking of this guy, right?
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah. Okay. We got we're cleared up. Michael Fassbender's never been Dr. Doom.
Michael Fassbender.
No, Michael Fassbender. If somebody said, "Oh, he's Dr. Doom now," I'm like, I'm down for that. But yeah. So here's the thing. That Julian McMahon's version of Dr. Doom was basically Lex Luthor if Lex Luthor became Dr. Doom. It really was. He was Lex Luthor. The next movie, I don't even know what the fuck that was. He's like mutated Dr. Doom.
I skipped the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
I watched the first one.
I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about Fan 4 Stick. In Fan 4 Stick.
Wait, have there been 4?
There was a low budget one in the 90s. There was the 2 with Chris Evans, and then there was Fan 4 Stick with Michael B. Jordan.
Wait a second. There was one before the Chris Evans one?
Yeah, the low budget one we were just talking about like 5 minutes ago.
I thought that was the one with Chris Evans.
No, there was a Fantastic Four movie made in the 90s on a budget of $1 million, and the studio who was doing it had the movie rights, and they only made the movie to hold on to the movie rights. So they made a low budget film on only $1 million, which even in the 90s, making a superhero film on only $1 million is unthinkable. But they did it, and they told the whole cast and crew, the director, the producers, rights, yeah, we're going to release this film in theaters. But they didn't. They never had any. Yeah, they never had any intention of releasing the film. They just want the whole. They just made it.
1994.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it was never.
2 stars, 3.9 on IMDb.
Yeah, it is really. Yeah, it's low budget, but it's got that kind of a bit of a low budget charm to it. But it's not a great film. Like the special effects are pretty bad. But honestly, the Doctor Doom in that, best Doctor Doom that's ever been in a live action movie. I'm not even kidding. He's from another country. He's in charge of the country. He talks in the third person. He fucking acts like Doctor Doom. I know. I mean, it's weird that the lowest budgeted movie is, and like the one that people always make fun of, has the best Doctor Doom.
That's
wild. Because the other two live action Doctor Dooms, they suck. I'm gonna say right there. And that's the thing, because Julian McMahon, he's a charismatic actor. He probably could have played the role a little bit better, but it's just what the script had. And then Fan Four Stick, it's like, well, that movie had two directors because, the first guy, I can't remember his name, got turned into an asshole on set, so the studio pulled him out and then had just one of the producers finish directing the film. And you can tell exactly where in the movie they pulled the director out, because there's a point in the movie where it is a completely different film. The tone is different. The way it's shot, everything's fucking different. Okay, we gotta... Anyway.
Man, Four Stick just sounds like a dildo. Fan Four Stick.
With special vibrate features. But anyway, let's move on to our middle segment, because we're going to get to that, and then we got to get to our movie review. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we saw the new Halloween movie. I guess we'll call it a soft... We'll call it a reboot, maybe a soft reboot, depending on how you feel it. But let's talk about the Halloween franchise overall. So, yeah. So, Michael Myers is one of those. He's right up there with Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger and all the great slasher films. He's one of the earliest ones. First movie coming out in 1978, directed by legend John Carpenter, and it was like one of the classic slasher films. It's one of the movies that made Jamie Lee Curtis one of the scream queens back in the day. She was in actually several horror movies back then. And it's considered a classic by many people. On IMDb, it's got a rating of a 7.8. I'm sure horror movie fans would rate it a little higher.
I mean, honestly, no. For a horror movie on IMDb, that is a really good score. Like, let's remember, horror movies in general are like shit on all the time.
Yeah,
as a
especially
genre.
the slasher.
Yeah.
Slasher, because Siskel and Ebert famously on one occasion said how they hated slasher films, how they thought they were stupid, how they thought they were just actually bad for women, how they made women look helpless or whatever, even though it's always the woman who survives at the end.
The final girl.
Yeah. So slasher films have gotten a lot of crap over the years. One of the standout, you had Jamie Lee Curtis, who was the main character.
One of the penultimate final girls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's been playing Laurie Strode. Also, of course, you had actor Donald Pleasance, who played Dr. Loomis, the famous, who probably was his character popped up the most in the sequels. Who he passed away many years ago. Back in the he passed away right when they finished Halloween 5 or 6.
I was gonna say, I want to say he's in 5 of them.
Yeah, well, he's in the first one. He's in the second one. He's not in the third one because that was Season of the Witch, which where they were going to do the anthology thing, where after the second one, Eric, you already know this, but for those listening in and watching, after the second one, it was supposed to be an anthology series where each new movie was to be something completely different, new setup, new characters, new monster or villain or whatever. It wasn't after that. Michael Myers was not supposed to be in any future films. But the third one didn't do well, and people wanted Michael Myers back, so they did the fourth one. The fourth one, and they brought Michael Myers back. Where now, if I remember properly, Jamie Lee Curtis's character Laurie is dead, but she has a daughter, and Michael Myers is now after her. I believe that's the plot of the fourth one.
I'm not sure. At some point, isn't there a deaf niece or something? And do they bring psychic abilities into that at some point?
No. Well, there was that one. Well, I'm thinking of the one girl who had Carrie powers in the one Friday the 13th movie.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, because originally that Friday the 13th movie was supposed to be Jason versus Carrie, but they couldn't get it to happen, but they just gave her telekinesis anyway, which is...
Because they couldn't get the rights for Carrie from Stephen King,
yeah.
But just like you can't copyright a chord progression, you can't copyright telekinesis. Similar to why if you ever watched Heroes, which was basically just hey, what if we combined Watchmen and the X-Men? They're people who have genetically evolved to have superpowers, but we'll never once say the word mutants because then we'd get sued.
Yes. And then you had so many follow-up movies, you had Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, all these... other movies, it just got ridiculous. Yeah, Halloween 5. What the hell? Wait, IMDb is listing this wrong. What? Is it Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers? Like, it just, it just gets more and more ridiculous, and I don't know. And then the one movie where they, like in the original movie, they never explain why Michael's the way he is. Donald Pleasance has this great scene in the movie where he's talking to like the one police officer and he's explaining Michael, whereas like I could be getting the years wrong. It's because Michael's been locked up for 15 years, I think they say in the movie. It's like, Donald Pleasance in that great voice of his, and he was a really good actor too. So he really nailed it. He's like, I spent the first 7 years trying to help him, and then I spent the next 6 years trying to keep him locked up or contained. Like he said something like that because he just he knew after a while he just accepted that what behind those eyes wasn't human, and now the thing John Carpenter, from my understanding, said Michael should not be understood. He should not be sympathized with. As see some of these other slasher films, the bad guy is created by some horrible circumstance that happens to him.
Even Jason is
somewhat sympathetic, because he was he was a little boy who was disfigured and was horrifically bullied and drowned because the camp counselors didn't give a shit. Right? A lot of slasher film villains have this weird, horrible background where you don't condone what they're doing, but you understand how they got there. With Michael, John Carpenter, from my understanding, wanted him to just feel so not human, so inhuman, so alien, that that's what makes him scary. It's you just can't understand what the fuck he is, why he's doing what he's doing. Of course, that was not Rob Zombie's approach when Rob Zombie made his own Halloween movie.
Yeah.
I think he made him a little too sympathetic in those films because, from what the first 40-45 minutes of Rob Zombie's Halloween movie is all Michael's backstory, exactly why he turned into a murderous sociopath. And it made clear, Rob Zombie is he considered Michael more of the main character than Laurie Strode, because we don't even meet that character until halfway through the film, I think. And, that upset some Halloween fans. Some people were like, oh, that wasn't too bad, but overall, I mean, it's whatever. It's one fan's interpretation, which I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't take 45 minutes to explain why the psycho guy is killing people.
I feel like it should have taken 45 minutes to be like, oh, hey, Danny Trejo's nice to this guy. Oh, now he's killing Danny Trejo. Come on, man. Make Danny Trejo the janitor who makes it 66 minutes into the movie.
That's what I want to see. In a future movie, I want to see Machete versus Michael Myers. That's what I want to see.
I want to see Machete versus Jason.
Machete versus any of those guys. I will take Machete versus that. I mean, Danny Trejo keeps saying they got another Machete movie on the way.
Machete versus Jason would be a machete off.
But anyway, I see we're running a little low on time, so we're going to get to our movie review. So it's time to finally talk about this movie. Halloween, it's 2018, 40 years after the fact, after the original movie, I should say. Jamie Lee Curtis has returned to the role. Much like one of the previous films, Halloween H2O, this movie is ignoring all previous installments. So this is the second time they've brought back Laurie Strode. We'll say third time if we include the Rob Zombie films, even though that was a different actress. But so Laurie Strode is back, and it's just once again ignoring the previous installments where the movie where she's kind of become very isolated. She's kind of the town weirdo. She has a daughter that is grown up, married, has a daughter of her own. She's got a husband, but they have a horrible relationship because Laurie was always afraid that Michael was going to get out someday. Blah, blah, blah. So it's really weird. And of course, what happens? Well, Michael gets out.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
And it's not just a movie where he spends the entire time in a cell and just draws humorous flash art for Laurie Strode.
But yeah, so let's talk about a few things. So I'll say this right off the bat. For a man in his mid-60s, Michael's in great shape.
I was going to speak and I was like, man, who is this dude? Danny Trejo? Danny Trejo's 70.
Yeah, no, I still wouldn't fuck with him. I wouldn't.
Exactly. He should fight Michael Myers.
I'm down for it. Let's do it. I mean, Danny. He was able to beat Mel Gibson, so I think he could take on.
True.
But anyway, that is a bit of this is a nitpick. I'm going to admit right now. It was a little weird knowing this guy who's in his mid-60s has been locked up probably doesn't get that. I mean, I doubt they let him in, like, do the bell bar at the gym at the insane asylum. He's in, like, really great shape because he's just, like, messing people up to, like, almost superhuman levels of strength, which I thought was like, oh, okay, we're kind of doing, like, the later 80s films where they made him a little, like, past, like, physically human. Because, like, in the earlier films, like, he didn't do anything too beyond a normal human.
I would disagree. I felt that it was kind of appropriate because there's sort of this weird sense in Halloween where it is simultaneously like the most generally realistic of like horror and slasher films. Like there's no supernatural reason given for like why Michael
until like
Myers
the later films.
Yeah. But at the beginning, there's no reason given for like why or how he's able to do these stuff. And of course, the first movie famously ends. He gets shot and falls off the like balcony of the second floor. And they look down at the body, and they look up, and they look down, and the body's gone.
Yeah.
Like.
Speaking of the original film, there's a lot of references and like almost Easter eggs to the original film. Some of them feel a little more. Some of them feel like a little too much fan service, and other ones I think were executed more properly. I don't want to give away what, but there's definitely a.
There was one that was excellent.
Yes, it was like, oh shit, yeah.
And it also, I think, set up a nice tone shift for the movie, actually.
Yeah.
Because the movie, for a like eighth installment in a franchise,
I don't know.
The movie had a fair amount of natural evolution and progression as it went on. Like it wasn't just one flavor. It set up things and it
it was weird. There's this little kid in the movie who's got he's got a ton of personality, right? He's got some character, and he's funny, and he's like, because he talks to like the one babysitter in the movie, and he was really funny, which was kind of, it felt a little weird how funny and entertaining this kid was in like a slasher film a little bit, and then he was still kind of cracking goofs a bit when people were getting murdered, so that was a little weird.
Well, you pointed out Danny McBride.
Yeah,
was one
Danny
McBride, one of the writers. Yeah. And Vincent, I think I agree with him, is pretty convinced that he wrote all the lines for Little Black Kid.
Oh, yeah. No, I could see like this kid being a character in Westbound and Down. Anyway, so
there was another kid in the movie who says some funny stuff at an earlier point, but he doesn't get as much screen time.
No, he gets.
But they had basically like American Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
His dad wants to take him hunting and do man stuff, but this kid just wants to dance.
I want to dance in this horror film. Dance. Halloween 2, Electric Boogaloo.
No one puts Billy in the corner.
The flash is coming. Okay, but let's talk about the gore. They went like
they did
gore. They're like, some of the people who get killed in this film look like they were in a car accident, which. Holy crap. I mean, Michael does his usual slash and stab and all that kind of classic Michael straight, but he really just like smashes people's heads in this movie.
Okay, I think this movie, I know there've been discussion among like certain horror nerds about whether or not like the jump scare is still relevant.
Yeah, because Blumhouse did this film, and Blumhouse is known for using the jump scare a lot.
I thought they used the jump scare really well, but combined with a significant amount of like gore and tone to the point that like I have a tiny bladder. I used the bathroom multiple times because I was like, no, if I hold it all the way through, I might piss myself at some point. They might grab me with a good just like, oh shit, like I didn't mean to tighten that.
Let's talk about a little bit about some of the dialogue in the film. There's like some really there's some lines of dumb dialogue. There's this one character in the movie. His name is Dr. I can't even know how to pronounce. Dr. Sartain or something like that. Sartain, who's like, he is Loomis's replacement in this movie. His character is that Dr. Loomis was his mentor, and he took over after Dr. Loomis died. And there's really this point in the movie where he explains who he is, and somebody goes like, "Oh,
Jamie Lee Curtis
says, oh, you're the new Loomis."
Yep.
Like they just flat out say it in the movie, like, "Oh, you're the new," like. Yeah, movie. We didn't need you to explain that. Like, wow. What the hell?
But and yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, so the movie got really meta in a couple ways.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good, because as much as you're like, what the hell, you were surprised.
I just felt that was
you were surprised by some things, and I felt like that right there help really set up some surprises.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I've said this before. I'm not a big horror movie guy. I don't hate horror movies or anything. They're just not like the type of genre that really attracts me. So maybe there's some elements in this film that I might be missing on, but I don't know. I just some of the dialogue. I just like, I'm sorry, that line was just like, they're like flat out like, okay, I get we're getting meta here, but it's like we're halfway through the film. It's like that. If that line came in a little earlier, I think maybe I would have been a little cooler with it. It's like,
well, the other line, like at one point, so that character gets injured very early on, and at one point, this other cop tells the head sheriff, he's like, this guy's like an expert. He's the new Loomis. Like, take him with you. And the cop's just like, you want me to take an injured civilian to hunt a known serial killer? And then like the next scene, like they're in the car together.
Yeah, it's weird. Let me look at my notes here. Get that. Okay, let's talk about Jamie Lee Curtis. Eric, how did you feel about her in this film?
I thought she was pretty terrific.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I really have nothing. I can't think of anything really bad to say. I mean, she was the best developed character. Her character is, like I said, she's become like basically they use this term in the movie, agoraphobic. Her family, she's really estranged from her family because the way she raised her daughter, basically. And
the way she raised her daughter in preparation to be a final girl. She goes like Jamie Lee Curtis actually reminded me a lot of Sydney, Neve Campbell's character in the Scream series, who by like the third one, like she is like isolated herself. She is like taking steps in like self-defense. Like basically Jamie Lee Curtis goes Sarah fucking Connor on shit.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, I thought her performance, I thought when she was afraid, I believed her when she was afraid, when she was sad, I believed it when she was fucking badass, because she is ready, she's like fucking like slasher film Sarah Connor from Terminator 2 in this motherfucker. And then one other thing I'll point out, I don't know if you noticed this, but I did, except for one guy, most of the male characters in this movie were either idiots or assholes. Was that just me? Like this like.
I mean, that's horror films in general.
I know it's a trope to have idiot characters in horror films. That's like, oh, it's a fun kill. Like, you know, this guy's gonna go down. But it was just like, it just seemed like mostly the men. Like, I can't really think of a female character that was dumb or stupid. It mostly seemed like the male characters. It's really weird to me, except for like the police officer. He was fine, but everybody was either an asshole or an idiot. Like the husband to Laurie Strode's daughter, that dude was just a friggin' idiot. And like, I get some of the teenage boys being that way. Like, I get that, but I don't know. There was like, I don't know. It seemed weird. And then I don't know. I mean, there's some spoilers I'd like to go into, but I don't want to go into spoilers and mess people up. But anyway, and one thing I'll say was awesome was like basically the climax of the film, the final confrontation, awesome. I don't want to reveal it, but Jamie Lee Curtis is awesome. Judy Greer, who plays her daughter, is awesome in the final climax. And
I thought the acting across the board was like solid.
Yeah. Andy Matichak, who played the granddaughter of Laurie, she was cool. Like it was all good. Like the final confrontation, just
I would say
really
the last
cool stuff.
20 minutes were
best part of the film.
They sold it home. Vince, what do you? So, guy who's not into horror, what do you say about this movie?
Well, if you're a horror fan, you're going to see it. If you're just a fan of the Halloween franchise, you're going to see it. But honestly, this one's a little weird for me because there are parts of this film like that are weird, but that I did enjoy that I thought were just not good. But honestly, the final 20 minutes, the final confrontation, the throwdown, all that. I'm gonna recommend the movie because that final 20 minutes was just so awesome. It's like it's like some people who like a lot of people didn't like Jurassic World, but everyone loved that final scene with Raptor and T-Rex. So, I'm gonna recommend the film. I'm gonna recommend it at least just because that final 20 minutes was just fucking awesome. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we got this week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're a friend or stranger. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to River's Edge Network for hosting us as always. And if you like the show, please consider donating to our Patreon. And shout out to our friends Krish, Mohan, and Liz Victory, who are getting married this weekend, guys. We're going to see you there in a couple days. Big fun wedding. Love you guys. Anyway, guys, take it easy. We'll see you next week.
Adios.